What's good, Joshua Ross? Back at it again with another video. So, recently, Rampage Jackson made a post, and essentially, he doubles down on his stance on what went down with his son and Psycho Stu, and it's obviously caused a lot of extra controversy on this whole situation. A lot of people are not liking what he had to say, and we're gonna actually check out the post and I'm going to give my opinions on it because I actually haven't, seen it. I've just seen people talk about it and give their opinions on it. So I actually want to, see exactly what he has to say about this whole situation. Obviously, there's a lot of parties involved that were at fault for this, but ultimately one person ended up in the hospital while the other person didn't. And I did see an update that Psycho Stu is doing well. I believe he's out the hospital now. So it's really dope that a lot of people came together to, kind of help him out with the GoFundMe and try to pay for his medical bills. Because I'm willing to bet they were very expensive, very extensive, considering the injuries that he was dealing with. So we're going to see exactly what Rampage Jackson had to say. I believe this is the post right here. So, it's from Rampage Jackson. I want to say this was a day ago. This has gone too far. I'm sick of being quiet and letting all the low IQ people fall for the clickbait. Yes, my son took things too far, and I'm pissed at him for being a piece of shit. Which is kind of wild to say that about your son, but the actions were, definitely excessive. And the way he handled it. But if Psycho Stu wasn't drunk and wouldn't have hit my son over the head with a real beer can while he was live streaming on his own stream, then Knox wouldn't have felt like they had to make things right by letting Raja get his get back in the ring. Now, to that point right there, Stu does take fault in that situation because he didn't know what was going on. He thought this was all a work. So he just takes it upon himself, hits someone that he doesn't know, that doesn't work for them. He just sees the camera and he assumes something. So he smacks him over the head with the can. Now, any normal human being is going to be like, what the fuck was that for? Like, what is wrong with you? That's going to cause some conflict. Obviously, there were people there that, tried to stop it. And then afterwards, they supposedly reconciled. We see it on camera of them, hey, I apologize. I didn't know. I thought this was all part of the show. I saw the camera. I got confused. So does Stu take part in that situation? Yes. You can't go around hitting people that you don't know is a part of the show. Doesn't make sense. He definitely wasn't maybe in his right mind, but he apologized for it. Everything else after that is definitely on the wrestling company themselves allowing this even to happen. There been this got way too far, way quickly, and the wrestling company does take some responsibility. Obviously, Raja Jackson as well takes some responsibility there. But let's continue reading on. If my son would have just went to the police when the beer can incident happened, the whole event would have got shut down, and he could have sued. But no, my son is not as smart as I'd like for him to be. This is kind of wild. Hold on. So first he calls his son a piece of shit, which that's kind of wild. I get your son did some horrendous things, but you're still supposed to be able to chastise your son without downing him too bad, because I get it. He went overboard, but that's kind of wild. Call him a piece of shit, and I think, his upbringing kind of play a big part into who he is, but that's a conversation for another day. But then to basically say my son is not as smart as he should be, that still kind of comes down to your upbringing and how you taught him and the things that he should do and shouldn't do. That's kind of wild, bro. Just to my son's a piece of shit and he's not really all up there. Maybe you should probably work on that. Maybe you should be the one to try to help him get everything right mentally. Because what the hell? This is insane. Now my family and I are getting racist threats because of all the misinformation being posted. So content creators can get paid from viewers. People actually think my son just snuck in a ring in front of a live audience and picked Psycho Stu up without permission to be there. Now that part, no, there's clips of him. Actually, they literally planned the work right afterwards, which was still random. Right after the beer can incident, right after they apologized, you can hear him on stream talking about, we're going to have you get in the ring. Then there's clips of him backstage with the cowboy dude talking about, yeah, you're going to get your receipt back in the ring. So it was already planned, and he already said it on stream. Hey, they said I can go out there and throw some real punches, but the whole clarification on that one was all messed up anyway. So if people don't got all the context, it just looks like this guy went on a rampage, no pun intended, and decided to pack up Psycho Stu because he fucking could. That wasn't the case. He did get permission. He just didn't get permission to try to kill him. That's the difference there. That's the difference there. Get smart, people. It was staged, but Raja took it too far, which we know. He only shook his hand and accepted Psycho Stu's drunken apology because they said he could get it in storyline, which once again, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. I get it. I don't know. They shouldn't have even done that to keep it a stack with you, but they wanted to get, I guess, some extra buzz and traction. So they probably shouldn't have done that. And even if they did give him the permission, they should have very well said, hey, man, just throw a punch or something. Give him a body slam. We'll get somebody in there to break it up. Cool. But that was not the case. They just said, fuck it. We're just going to let him do whatever he wants. He was told he could fuck him up, which is why probably the dude with the cowboy hat said that. I have witnesses that say this isn't the first time that Psycho Stu has done some drunk shit backstage to a fan. Now we have the backstory. That's my son. That my son attacked an innocent military vet with PTSD. Like my son knew everything about that man. Came up from behind him and hit him, and then asked him to sell it. I have other kids to protect, and I don't take kindly to threats. I'm not scared of prison or dying for my kids, and calling me names won't hurt my feelings. My son should face the consequences for going too far. He knows better. That's why he didn't tell me anything about the storyline. But Psycho Stu is lucky I wasn't there when he hit my son over the head with the beer can the day after he got a concussion from sparring the day before. It would have, I wouldn't have cared if a bunch of pro wrestlers would have jumped me. I'm a father first. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Let's all learn a lesson to keep your damn hands to yourself. If you get paid to do fake fighting, don't disrespect people that do the shit for real. Now I put myself in this shit. DM me now. Yeah, man. And here's the thing. I get he's going to defend his son even though he talked shit about his son. I get he's going to defend his son. That's his son. So I get that. I also understand that what Psycho Stu did initially was not right. If anybody is defending that or saying, oh, it's not that bad, no. What Psycho Stu did, he accidentally, in a drunken state, ended up thinking this guy was was working with them, and he wasn't. That's on him. And if he has a history of doing that, that's not good. I don't think he meant any intent on it because he really fucking didn't know. So I don't think he really meant intent. And I think that is where there should be some type of switch in your head to realize, okay, this guy clearly he didn't know. He clearly didn't know because you shook hands. Like, I get it. That can be one of the situations like, bro, what the fuck's wrong with you? You ready to square up? Cool, I get it. Nobody should be cracking a can over your head, especially if you don't work there, you know. But I also understand that with the apology, like, all right, cool, we'll do something in the ring. Cool, I'll get my leg back. Whatever, that's fine. But to then get the clear and then to rationalize, you know what? I'm going to go in and try to kill this guy. That's the issue. That's the biggest thing there. We know what started it, and we know that's wrong, but how it ended was worse. Because there's really no scenario in my head that I can honestly fathom and be like, you know what? That made sense for him to do. That made sense for him to get his lick back, is to essentially keep punching an unconscious man until he's choking on his teeth and blood and damn near trying to kill him. That is where you lose me. And that is where something up here is not right. Something didn't connect. Whether it's his issues with his dad or whatever the case, obviously concussions and stuff like that. It didn't connect. I probably shouldn't go this far. That's all I'm saying. So that's where the issue really comes in. Psycho Stu was wrong on how things was handled in the beginning. They apologized. Everyone in the back that was cool, especially with the cowboy hat, like, go fuck him up. Even though he probably had, it's come out that he's had issues with Psycho Stu. That's a problem. The people that's running the promotion, letting all this just happy willy-nilly, that's a problem. You're getting a guy that is not a wrestler, but is a trained fighter to come in there and get his receipt or get a lick back or whatever. And you don't really break it down and clarify, hey, just throw one punch or hit him with a power slam, call it a day, and like kind of work him through it, because this could be dangerous for everybody involved. That's another issue. And then, of course, Rampage Jackson just saying, fuck it, I'm going to try to kill the guy. That's a big issue. So it's just one of those things where it's really unfortunate. This whole situation, he needs to definitely get some counseling for sure. Also, I don't know if y'all seen this image, and I had seen this, and I wasn't really going to talk about it that much, because basically it was a wrestling promotion that was basically using it for clout to say, oh, Raja Jackson is going to be booked at this other wrestling show, when that was never the case. They just used it as clout to get headlines for the future show, which I always think that's fucking scummy. It was a fake promo ad, like a fake ad like this. Just, it wasn't real. It was just to get people to come click on their page and check out their wrestling show. The shit's cringe. I get it. You're trying to, capitalize off of it, but it's a real situation. Someone was really hurt, could have damn near died, and I think this is another thing why he ultimately probably made this post. Either way, I get him defending his son, but at the same time, his son got to be in control of his actions. And you got to have that self-aware, like, you know what? He apologized. He clearly is out of his mind. He clearly didn't understand. They're going to let me get in there, get physical. Cool. You can go. You can throw hands. You have to have that mental awareness. And I don't think, even some of the clips from that I've seen from Rampage Jackson, even though he is a trained fighter, and everyone knows who he is and what he's done in the UFC, like in mixed martial arts, like he be kind of crashing out. So when I see my dad doing some of the same things, and he got paid a lot of money to do it, I might as well do this to these wrestlers, because you can even hear what he said, how Rampage basically like, yeah, it's a whole bunch of fake fighting. They don't really respect wrestlers like that. He said it in the clip on stream. He's always wanted to beat up a wrestler. Well, there you go. You just gave fuel to the fire, man. We don't know what's going to happen, but the only silver lining about this is Psycho Stu is doing better, and that's the best news possible. It's unfortunate that this all happened, but hopefully this is a lesson learned for everybody, that, if they're not a part of the show, they probably shouldn't be backstage or where all the wrestlers are, unless it's on just like some meet and greet type stuff. And if you don't know them, you probably shouldn't be smacking them over the head with the can. And if you're not a wrestler, not really in tune with the wrestling business, and you get in the ring, you probably shouldn't be out there trying to end someone's life either. There's a lot of people at fault here. It's just an unfortunate situation, but I'm glad Psycho Stu is doing better. But comment down below, let me know, how do you guys feel about Rampage Jackson's post here? Do you agree with his sentiments, or do you somewhat disagree with what he said here? Let me know down below. But I appreciate all love, support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking in with me. See you on the next one. Peace.